I'm Miss Alvarez, and today I am going to give you a mini lesson on introducing quotes. You should always introduce a quote or paraphrased information. Doing so provides a segue using your words to someone else's. So here's our first example. According to Dylan Thomas, one should. That is my introduction into Dylan Thomas's words, which are rage, rage against the dying of the light. It's important to introduce your quote because you need to set up either who said it, and you can use that to help you with your parenthetical documentation so you're not citing the same way every single time. And it can provide a little interest for your reader. So if I started that sentence simply with the quote, rage, rage against the dying of the light, I don't know who's saying it. I might not know in what context it's used. So you want to make sure that you always introduce your quotes. Here's a second example. As Henrietta lay dying, her son thought. If I don't have that particular introduction, you don't know that Henrietta is living the last few hours of her life. And you also get to see that her son, he doesn't witness her death, but he's present in the hours before she dies. And it makes you feel, hopefully, a little empathy for Henrietta's son. So that's another way that you can introduce the quote. Here's a third way. Dorian, and probably his only moment of truth, acknowledges that. And so then I have the words that Dorian says to his friend. In that introduction, I'm giving you a little hint of my mental state, and I'm letting you know, hey, I figured this out. That yes, I've read this book, and even though this is taking place toward the end of the book, this is his only moment of truth. I mean, at least he has a moment of truth. But anyway, I'm letting the reader know that everything that he said and everything that he's done before is not something that a person would want to emulate. So in providing that introduction to the quote, I'm giving you a hint of an insight that I have. My last example that I'm going to show you is Polonius, a despised character in Hamlet, tells Laertes that one must be true to oneself. Now, I read that entire sentence because you don't see any quotes or quotation marks. And that lets you know that I paraphrased that idea. And the actual words are that Shakespeare writes, to thy own self be true. Well, those aren't my words. So I need to paraphrase, or I wanted to paraphrase that information. So I did not use quotation marks. But Polonius, a despised character in Hamlet, tells Laertes, that's my introduction. So I'm letting you know who said it. I'm letting you know that he isn't liked. And I'm letting you know that he's having a conversation. And even though we don't like that character, Polonius, he says something extremely profound and something that people even say today. So those are 4 examples of how you can introduce your quote. Essentially, introducing your quotes can provide essential information to your reader. It can also make your writing interesting. And yes, reading papers can be fun. If you make attempts to separate yourself from other writers, your teacher can look forward to reading your paper. And your teacher may say, I'm going to read this paper last because I want to end this in a good mood. Or I want to read this paper first because I think all the rest of them may cause me to get a little upset. So yes, reading papers can be fun. There were several students whose papers I enjoyed reading because they either gave me insights, or B, they were clever. And although I didn't laugh, I found their writing humorous. So vary the ways that you introduce your quotes. Some additional information. I didn't point this out to you, although this could have been another mini lesson. But anyway, you should be able to match the sources within your paper to the sources listed on your works cited page or your bibliography page or your references page. And so you should have seen that I had information in parentheses. All of those names should match up to what's on my works cited page. And the reader should be able to look on that either page, that line, or that act scene and line number or numbers of any of your sources and find those exact words that you cited. And then here's my example just for your information because I wanted to model how it should look. If you have any questions, come to the library and check out Keys for Writers or a citation book from your school library. We have an MLA book, an APA book, and a Chicago style book. So either one of those will probably be what you need when you are writing your paper. I hope this was beneficial to you. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to come ask me and the library. I'll see you next time.